treated myself to a pair of new handlebars for the TT bike. Of course, it's not a pair of handlebars, it's a bike. I think it's pretty obvious. The idea being that I can replace, and I don't have to ride the Focus into work anymore, which I've been riding the last 3 weeks. And it's served a purpose. It's been quite useful in terms of getting in and out of work, but it isn't the most comfortable of rides. So what we've got here is a giant Revolt, a 0 or a 1. Anyway, there were 3 bikes in this price point. I wanted an aluminium bike, didn't want a carbon bike because it's a commuting bike. I want to go bike packing, and I might do a little bit of cyclocross on it. Have to see what the frame's like for that. There was a Cube Cross Race Pro I think I looked at. In fact, I actually even went as far as nearly buying one through the Cycle to Work scheme, but they did a really terrible job on it. I have to say, I was really unimpressed with our benefits people at work, and I'll be sending a strongly worded letter to the BBC. And there was also the Trek Crockett, which I just couldn't get hold of. So we have a Giant, and I have considered Giants in the past. When I was buying this bike, when I was buying the Medone, I also sort of considered the Giant Propel. Love Giant bikes, never had one though, so we will give this a go. Got to get it built because I need to ride it to work tomorrow. Actually, it's a good point. I should say, I'm not building it because it's been built already. Fun fact, I actually bought this bike from the same place I bought the Medone from, a company called Pedalon, who have always been absolutely amazing. They always do a really great job on the PDI, so all I've really got to do is take the packaging off, put pedals on, and put my Garmin mount on it, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, it should be ready to get into work tomorrow. Now look, this is what I mean about a nice touch. I don't know if you can see this, but each bit of tape that they put around the frame has been doubled over to make it easy just to pull off. Now that, folks, that is class. That is proper customer service. Make life as easy as possible. And it's little touches like that that make you realise the care and attention that companies put in to getting their bikes ready for their clients. And that, folks, is why I've gone back to the same company that I bought the Trek from. Doesn't take much, it's the little touches. One of the knock-ons of buying a Trek Medone is that I will never ever buy another rim brake bike. The GRX group set that comes with this, including the hydraulic brakes, is just like a chunkier version of most road bike components, but the hydraulic braking is an absolute must for me these days. One thing that I did think was kind of cool was the clutch that they fitted to the rear mech. It kind of stops the chain chatting around when you're riding across dodgy ground, and I was really chuffed as well to find out that the crank set that was supposed to come with it, the FSA, was actually a Praxis. I'm not a big fan of FSA. It comes with a 4832 front chainring with 1134 cassette on the back. Giant cross-cut tyres, not the best in the world. Giant SX2 wheels, but at the end of the day it's an 1800 quid bike. The final absolute must on this bike were the front fork bosses for the cages so that I could put both my commuting and my bike packing luggage on. So it's the morning after the night before, and I've decided to ride my first commute into Bristol. In some pretty high winds, has to be said, fortunately at the minute there. Pretty much directly behind me, 40 km/h winds gusting up to 60-65 km/h. Should make the ride home pretty interesting. I've done the sum total of 3.5 kilometres so far on the bike. The first impressions of this really, one, it is heavy, there's no doubt about it, but then so am I. It's not the only thing on the bike that's heavy, it's not just the bike, it's me too. But it is sturdy, it's extremely comfortable compared to what I have been riding around on. This comes with a mixture of GRX components, which is new to me really, well, it's new to Shimano as well, but it's the gravel specific range. So essentially what we've got here in terms of components are GRX 600 shifters, we've got GRX 800 front and rear mechs, and the brake calipers are GRX 400. Now that doesn't really mean anything to you, it didn't to me either, so I looked it up. In road bike stuff we've got 105 level shifters, the mechs, front and rear mechs are Ultegra, and the brake calipers are Tiagra. Now I'm riding with the tyres that come on this, which are A for off-roading and B reputedly terrible. And I'm gonna take a left just up here and ride along a drove, which A, I've never been along, B, the tyre pressures are too high for, and C, I am no off-roader as you know if you watch this channel well. So we're going to see what this brings. We'll see if I can film anything because I've got to hold the camera. I'll say this so far, it's not exactly off-roading. This is, I guess, really perfect gravel environment for a bike like this. Tyre pressures being a bit too high make it, well, how should we say, a firm ride, but it's not terrible. And the bike basically goes wherever you point it. Now, if you've spent all your life riding crap bikes like I have, you'll know that simply isn't the case with all bikes. So far, so fun. I'll tell you what, this could be a bit of a game changer for commuting into work in terms of having a bit of a laugh on the way. I've just got to find the right-hand turn that actually gets me into the city. Ridden over 100 miles on this bike since I got it, and you know what I haven't done? I've completely forgotten. Take the front wheel reflector off. I feel like I've let everybody down. I've ruined the channel, and I think you should all unsubscribe. I've had the bike for just over a week now. I've done about 100 miles. A lot of that off-road actually, and I've got a few things to say about it. However, what I am doing first is fitting a couple of these Blackburn cages that go on the front forks. They come highly recommended, and they're nice and super light. What they don't do is come with the cage bolts, so I'm going to have to dig around for some of those. So whilst I'm fitting these, here are some thoughts on what I've kind of noticed about gravel bike riding in the last week or so. First of all, it's far more mentally demanding than I realised. I knew it was going to be physically demanding. I've done cyclocross, and the cyclocross races, they're fairly short, and I haven't realised just how exhausting it is to be so focused on riding off-road. It's kind of another level of mindfulness. They say, don't know, that sport's good for your mental health, but actually there's a big difference between going for a run or doing bouldering. They say bouldering and rock climbing are the two most mindful things because you're so focused in the moment. I must admit, kind of felt a little bit like the sort of gravel bike riding that we were doing was definitely along those lines. Really, really focused. You had to concentrate all the time. Now, I'm not naive. I knew it was going to be a whole new set of skills I was going to need to learn. I've ridden cross, as I say, so I know that there's a whole new range of skills you need to be able to ride off-road, but I think it's just the array of skills. I wasn't aware of just how much I was going to need to develop, like learning different terrains, learning to get your lines, even pacing yourself up some of the more trickier climbs to be able to have the energy to do bits later. And there's now sections in my head that I'm thinking I want to go back to, where maybe I had to climb off or push the bike up, that I now want to be able to practice the climb up. Wasn't expecting that, and I have a huge debt of gratitude really to Chrissy and Katie, who are fantastic off-road riders who took the time to kind of nurse me through stuff and talk me through some of the skills that I need to develop. And I'm looking forward to getting a whole new set of skills and seeing how that translates to the road and the TT. In fact, when I got back on Sunday, I watched the Gravel World Championships, and I have to say, huge congratulations to the riders and everything, but from what I rode that Sunday morning compared to what they were riding in the afternoon in Switzerland,
that didn't look anything like the gravel bike riding that I was doing. What we were doing was far more technical, far more challenging, and I hope in the future with the UCI Gravel World Champs they actually do something a little bit more akin to what we were doing. I think from what Katie and Chrissy were saying, that on a mountain bike that stuff is considerably easier, and to have the skills to be able to do that on a cross bike or on a gravel bike takes considerable skill. Looking forward to developing those skills. So in summary, really then, before I try and fit these two to the front forks, no idea what I'm doing with this yet, it's a huge amount of fun, and I'm looking forward to it motivating me to commute deeper into the winter. I think that's the main thing that I can think at the moment is the most important thing to me, is to not wake up in the morning and think, I've got to ride in on my road bike, same old routes, this idea of being distracted by the challenge of riding on that terrain, all those kind of things I'm hoping will give me the incentive to kind of not get the bus and not drive in, which is the most important thing right now. As I said before, 3 things: cost, environment, and my health. Those are the 3 most important things right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that challenge progresses. So I'll admit it, I'm now fully out of my depth. I feel more out of my depth now having these dry bags strapped to my front forks than I did trying to ride up an insane gully yesterday over rocks the sides of my head. For some reason this feels far more daunting. It's the sort of thing I've avoided as a kid for years, to looking like a touring cyclist. I used to avoid it at all costs. Anyway, they're on. I've got full set of clothes in here because I brought them home last week to wash them. A pair of trainers in here, trying to even out the weight, and then I'm going to put my food and my wallet and everything in my saddlebag. And we will talk about how these ride on another day, because that's the end of this video. So thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, it's probably about time you did. And I will see you on the next video. Take it easy.